Hi fellow readers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marie and I am here today with a long overdue video. So this is a wrap up of like every series slash trilogies that I've been reading. Everything that is not a standalone will be featured in this video. Some of these books I've read like a long time ago. I have a few series to talk about here today. And without any further ado, we're gonna get into it because there's a lot to unpack. First off, I have the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I am not done with this series. There is 2 more books, I believe. I will not be reading them. I enjoyed the first book. So basically the plot of this book is like you go to a cafe where you can go back in time and meet the people that you want to meet. There are some rules that you must follow, one of which is going back to the present before the coffee gets cold. It's a very beautiful book. Like the first one, I enjoyed it, even though it's not my kind of book, I enjoyed it for like the lesson you learn and the moral of the story, I'd say. But then the 2 other books just felt like too much, you know, as in like it's the same old story. I felt like people were just dying for the plot and for the grief, but we've seen that in book 1 already. So I kind of feel like the other books are useless to the series. So I get the point, I'm just not interested in reading the other 2 books. Although I did have a really good time with the first book. The second book I was already getting tired of it a little bit, and then the third book I was just like done with it and I wanted to move on. Then I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I misplaced 1 book, so I have only 2 books in hand. I have the third one, I have read the third one, I just don't know where it is. There's like so many books laying around, it's a whole mess. As you can see, I own very old editions of these books. I read them in French because I found them in French. So what happened with these books is that I read The Hobbit. I was not a big fan, if you recall, I made a video about it. And then I read the first book, which was so long. The first book was so long. It was like 500 pages. I was not having a great time with it. I was not really enjoying it. But I pushed past it and then I read the second book. And the second book, I read through the book in maybe 3 days. Like the last 2 books of the series are honestly the best. But anyway, this book was just like full of surprises. I was really not expecting anything that happened in it, but it was just much more enjoyable to read those books when the community was torn apart and the people were going their own way. I don't know how to call the people in this book as I read it in French, and I don't know whether the names differ and stuff. So but like basically when they part ways and they all kind of like go their own way and do their own thing, that was pretty fun to follow. And so the last 2 books were great, and I'm actually glad that I pushed back my first impression of the series and that I moved forward with it and that I kept reading, because it was like worth every single page and like it was worth the time I spent reading it. I have no idea whether I'm making sense right now. Then I read a trilogy that has been sitting in my bookshelves for like 3 years at this point, and that is A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, followed by a sprinkle of sorcery, A Tangle of Spells. So hands down, this was like one of the best middle grade that I have read in a long time. In this very fun story, you follow 3 sisters who are cursed to never leave their hometown. The middle sister, however, is not really happy about this curse, and she wants to travel the world, she wants to see what's out there. So they set on a journey to try and maybe find out how they can break this curse. The first book was great and I loved every single page. The writing was so fun and it fit the world the book was set in like so well. So I was very excited when I was done with this book to move on to the second book. that is definitely the book that I liked least in the trilogy. I was quite sad that there are some characters from book one that you never hear about again. And you know, I got attached in the first book, so I want more of them, and I didn't get that. So I was kind of sad about that, and I think I didn't care much for the plot of this one, which is a completely different plot. You just have to read the first book to kind of understand the whole thing. I was not really interested, I guess, when I understood that we wouldn't be seeing more of the characters that I really loved in book one. So that one was kind of like, I read through it and then kind of forgot about it. But it was still good enough for me to want to read the last book of the series, which is the one that I enjoyed best after the first one. The first one is the best one. That one felt more spooky, you know, like there was a more spooky vibe to it than the first and second book. It had a whole other dimension to it than there was that you couldn't find in the first two books. So I really loved that about it. Although, same thing, you don't hear again from the characters from book one that I really liked and that I would have loved to know more about. However, this one was still great, with like the mystery. I got like and like the mystery and the unexpected, and it was just like also brilliantly written. So I loved the series as a trilogy as well, although the first book obviously remains my favorite book. I think I'm gonna like do a reread of this one maybe next year or the year after, I don't know, but I just like loved it so much. So I'd love to read more of Michelle Harrison's books, even though it's like middle grade, but I feel like I discovered something, and I love it as an adult, and I know I would have loved these books as a child. So I don't know, they're kind of like treasures to me, but it was a great read. So if you're in middle grade right now and you don't know what to read and you're looking at like Percy Jackson or Harry Potter, well, I recommend this. Then I read some mangas. So you have Planetarium Ghost Travel, book 1, book 2, and book 3. These books were amazing. I don't read much mangas, but it was just like I got drawn to the covers because they're just like so, they have a Little Prince vibe kind to them, you know. And The Little Prince is one of my favorite books. So the main character really reminded me of The Little Prince with his scarf. In this book, you follow a boy whose mission is to go to Sleepy. I read it in French, so again, my translation of the things that are called in this book might be wrong because I haven't read it in English. So I'm doing like live translation of what I remember. So the names might differ, the places might differ. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. But so this guy is in charge of preserving cultures that are bound to be forgotten because the people are falling asleep and never wake up, and they turn into trees. So the whole solar system is infected. It's some kind of like illness. We don't really know much about it in the first book. We just know that people are falling asleep, turning into trees, and then never waking up. So this little man finds himself traveling through all these different kind of planets. He meets the people there, and he brings back lots of objects, lots of books in order to preserve their culture. I think that series, I'm waiting on the fourth book, but these were just amazing, I think, because first off, they make you travel, like, and it's just like the best kind of thing when you travel with a book, when it takes you places, you know, like places you've never seen and places that you don't even dream of. Well, that was the effect that this book had on me. The artwork is absolutely stunning, like really, really stunning. And it would just, like, there was this whole Little Prince vibe to it. You know, he's discovering new cultures. He's meeting new people, and that was just so great to read about. And it happened in space. And right now I have been having a little, I play video games sometimes, not often, but lately I've been having an obsession with Outer Wilds, which is a video game. I played on Switch, but you can also play it on Xbox, I think. And this really reminded me of Outer Wilds, and I just like love that. And I'm not sure I like the main character, but I love the books and I love the story, and that's not something that happen often, you know, when I don't enjoy a main character, when I'm not sure I'm liking a main character, but then like most of the time if I don't like the main character, I will not be enjoying the book, I will not be enjoying the story. Well, here I didn't really like the main character, but I loved the story and the universe all the same. These books were amazing and they will definitely be in my top 5. And I hate the way that I'm talking about them because I feel like I'm not making you want to read them, but they were really, really great. And I can't wait for the 4th book to come out in French. Last but not least, the reason this video took me so long to film is because I was reading a 6-book series and I wanted that series to be in that video so I could be done with it. So, bear with me. These are in French because they are my girlfriends. So you have Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, book 1, book 2, book 3. I couldn't find the 5th book in French, so I have the 5th book of Falling Kingdoms in English. And then book number 6 has never been translated into French. Luckily, I speak English. So I got the last book and I read the last book. So I read this series all the way through. What can I say about it? So in this series, you follow several characters through war. There's like old gods, magic. I don't really know what much I can say about it, but basically I feel like the main character's name is Cleo. She has had her kingdom stolen. She has been forced to marry the son of the king who has killed her father. So, you know, things like that. Lots of politics, lots of magic, lots of old, ancient gods, betrayals. It was overall a very fun read. But basically this book, like this series, has every fantasy cliche that you could ever find. Like there's like this one girl who is like the most powerful human being on earth. Nobody has powers that could equal hers, and she's just like basically a goddess. She's just like so powerful, and so she's like kind of evil because people are using her for magic. And then the other female character, she is beautiful. Everybody's in love with her. Every single male in this story has been in love with her at some point, and she has loved them back. This read was like nothing great to me. I feel like it would be a good start to get a young person into fantasy. But however, I'm like a 23-year-old woman, and I feel like I was a bit too old for these, you know, which I probably definitely am. I mean, the first one came out when I was like 11, so had I read that book when I was 11, I would probably have loved it, but now I'm not a big fan of fantasy, and also this felt really kind of childish. Everybody in this book get together with someone in kind of a strange way, and like the characters that I wanted together did not end up together. And also, I don't know, I felt like the whole love life of the character was rushed, but then again they're like 17-year-olds thrown into battle and war, so I guess, you know, I wasn't mature when I was 17. I was actually pretty dumb mentally, so I guess it's that. But anyways, that was a series that I did enjoy for the plot and like the fun time. Like I did read it all the way through. It was interesting enough that I wanted to know how it was gonna end. It was just, I'm just too old for it, I think. You guys enjoy your reading and I will see you in another video. Bye!